And so today we begin with being, as in we are human beings, not human doings. Because there is so much emphasis in this challenge on doing, we want to remember to be grounded first in who we are, not in what we do. When I was in college, a buddy of mine and I decided to go on a road trip from Colorado to California. We drove the 1,300 miles to Southern California. We had some people that we were going to be hanging out with. After we were finished, it was somewhere after midnight, and we were trying to decide what we were going to do. We were young and had lots of energy and were really pretty dumb, so we decided, let's drive home. We were driving north through Utah on I-15, and we were approaching I-70, and you would think that this major interchange of interstates would have like a town or a city at least, but there is nothing there. We had been driving for quite some time, not just with the low fuel light on, but with the needle pinned on the E. And I was starting to get a little nervous. I see a sign, gas station in 2 miles. There's some relief, except for about the same time, I feel the car go, and it jerks. But it kept going. Somewhere just inside a mile, I realized that I am pressing on the gas pedal, but there's no response. I'm out of gas completely. We start cruising down this little hill, and I see the gas station the opposite side of the street. Turned right and had to pause again as a car passed so that I could turn across traffic and get right into the gas station, literally right as I stop at the pump. Amazing relief, right? But I have no idea what I would have done if that gas station wasn't there. And I tell this story because we know very clearly that we have got to have gas in the tank. And with this challenge, we need to be filling up over and over and over again with what God wants to give us. And if we don't continue to be refilled, we're going to run out. We're going to fall flat. We want to consider how we can refill so that we can live the lives where God intends for our lives to flourish. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." A woman named Martha opens her home to Jesus. All the disciples probably also. Things escalate pretty quickly. We see Martha is running around doing all the things that need to get done, and Mary, her sister, is just kind of hanging out with Jesus. And she wants some help. And so she goes to Jesus, but she does not get the answer she was expecting. Jesus responds, "Martha, Martha." I can't help but to think of the Brady Bunch. "Martha, Martha, Martha." Jesus is responding to Martha with this tenderness. "Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed. In fact, only one thing is actually needed. Mary has chosen what is better." Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. And it begs the question, distracted from what? And the answer is very simply distracted from Jesus. As Mary, her sister, is sitting with Jesus at his feet. He's not condemning these things. It's the worry that he's concerned about. And I think for Jesus, the question is why though? Why would we be concerned about the details? If she was paying attention to him, she would have noticed that Jesus didn't want her running around like a chicken with her head cut off. He wanted her to simply be with him. Now, Mary, on the other hand, is not distracted by these things at all. Mary probably is very clear that she actually has needs herself. She doesn't probably have a lot to offer Jesus, but that Jesus has a whole lot to offer her. And so she's sitting at his feet. And Mary had the audacity to think that someday, one day in the future, she could be like him, that she could be one who would go and love and serve those the world would never serve. She had the audacity. And Jesus agreed. And in this moment, Jesus broke down all sorts of cultural barriers. We're so obsessed with doing. We're distracted and worried by all of these things. And Jesus says, stop. Few things are needed. You know what? Actually, only one thing, to be with me so that I can fill you up. Before we go out and do any of the days of this challenge, the invitation is to be with Jesus so that we are filled up, so that when we do these things, we'll actually have something to give, and the something will actually be Jesus, which the world longs for and needs. And Jesus says, Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken from her. Him as her source of hope and joy and peace and meaning. Him as the source of her forgiveness when she continues to fail over and over and over again. Him as her source of peace in the midst of trial, of heartache, of grief, of pain. None of that can be taken away. And it's actually because he died on the cross that none of it can be taken away. Because he died for her on that cross, so that it's no longer about her. It's no longer about her ability to live a perfect life. It was Jesus's perfection, his life laid down for her. And if that's true for her, then as we come to be with Jesus, can never be taken away from you either. So you hear his invitation? Be with Jesus before you and I go out to do anything for him.